This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation joining us here on a Monday morning edition of Halftime. Mike, hope you had a good weekend. What's going on today?
Just at work, kind of looking at some of these Ask Mike questions. A few of them are a little crazy, so you got to think a little bit on when you come up with an answer to some of these questions.
You want to give us your craziest question that you've been asked so far, or at least one that's in front of you that you think might be a little bit, maybe a little bit of a doozy?
There was a guy that said that he couldn't understand why the University of Arkansas, and he's talking about the athletic department, why they publicize Little Rock games more than Fayetteville games, and it was dividing the fan base. And I'm thinking, I'm not really aware of that. Am I missing something? The only answer I can come up with is they might publicize a Simmons Bank Arena game just because it happens once a year, and they want to make sure that everybody knows it's coming up. But we live in a state where you got TV, radio, internet, newspapers, all covering the Razorbacks every day, and it seems pretty difficult to me that a fan would not know about games in Northwest Arkansas. You get hit over the head with this stuff, so I don't know how that divides anybody.
Well, I guess people are still used to the Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas thing, and that the fan base, I mean, is it a divided fan base because of the geographical divide? I mean, the geographical divide in this state is real. I mean, there's different attitudes living in the central part of the state than living in Northwest Arkansas. Do you feel this is a divided fan base? Because you get a ton of questions from viewers on Ask Mike, and I would imagine you've got a thought on that.
Well, it's a little bit different than in most traditional college situations in that if you have the major in-state university in a state, it's probably going to be more centrally located. And obviously, nobody was thinking about football or whatever in 1869 when they kind of quietly established the University of Arkansas. I've always asked myself, why did they pick a town of, I think at that time Fayetteville was probably 3,000 people. Why did they pick that for a university site instead of Little Rock? I got no idea. But I think it's an issue with some people. Most people probably not. I think the internet stuff, you get more publicity when you get mad and express your opinions over that. My position has always never wavered. I like games at War Memorial. I understand what's happened over the years as the facility is it's nobody's fault. You can't maintain, add to a stadium and keep it up to date when you're going to play 2 or 3 games a year there. You just can't do it. And I think they've done the best they can, but I agree with the university's decision to continue to play a game there. I understand why they're playing one basketball game a year, one baseball game a year. It really is, guys, all about letting some fans go to a game that don't normally get to go to. I promise you, if you went and talked to those people that were in North Little Rock at this game on Saturday, they're going to tell you they had a good time. It was fun. Players signing autographs after the thing, and they always come in early and go visit the Children's Hospital and do a lot of stuff. That's just doing some PR in the most populous part of your state. So there's no reason for this divide. And I don't think most people see it as a divide. I just think some people do, and they start griping with each other.
Yeah, I like to make it an opportunity for the fans in some of those smaller towns. It's just an easier drive to get to Little Rock. And Mike, I always loved playing in Little Rock. Whether I don't know that I played a basketball game down there, but Coach Nutt's a Little Rock guy, and it was a different atmosphere. It's almost like they're way excited to see you because they don't get to see you every day. I'd like to see them always play at least one game, and it can be a non-conference game, but I think it's good for the state. It's good for the kids that can, the high school and junior high kids that can't drive up to Fayetteville. They can get to a game.
Yeah, I just have memories of some great games. My first year here, A&M was number 2 in the country, and they came in, and Arkansas just curb stomped them. And I had never seen fans like that in my life. They were standing up and applauding the defense every time they came off the field. I never seen, a full stadium of people applauding defense. And then there were these, that Miracle in Markham I didn't get to see it. They were making me do a live shot over on the east side of the stadium. I'm walking through the parking lot, and I hear this noise, and I don't know what happened. So they hooked me up, and the guy back and forth Smith says, "What do you think about that?" And I go, "I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. I didn't see it."
That's the loudest. That's the loudest mic that I've been in the stadium, and they said half the people had left, and that was wild.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was great. My kid was on the camera where it just happened right in front of him, rolled up right in front of him, and I was mad at him when I got home. I mean, you got to see what I didn't get to see. So, and then, just other games. I mean, that touchdown pass that Mallett threw right before halftime, I think it was a 2010 game maybe, and it was just all of those wonderful games in Little Rock, and I don't know how anybody can say you shouldn't play there again. That those people are crazy at games. They just look. They get a snoot full. I'm telling you. And I've been down on the field, and I see Vegas the year after Vegas beat Arkansas out there. I'm in that on the east side, right next to that locker room, guys, and they shut the gate. It's a one of those gates fences, chain link fence that you can see through, is about 8 feet tall, and they shut the gate to let these players come out, and I just didn't make it through, so I'm mashed up against that gate, and some big defensive tackle comes out, and he looks at all those fans snarling at him, and he goes, "I ain't scared of y'all." I thought they were going to kill me. People were coming up over my back, trying to climb over the top of that fence, and he took one look at that, his eyes bugged out, and he took off for the field. He knew he needed to get out of there. So there's such an advantage that Arkansas has playing in that stadium. I don't know why you'd want to never play there again.
Mike, I think most of the anger might not be the right word, or maybe it is, about playing basketball at Simmons Bank and even baseball at Dickey Stevens is because the games can't be televised, or at least they're not televised. And it's because of the deal with ESPN and the SEC network. But both those games are sold out. So it's just, it's like you tell everybody, you just have to get used to this. They're not going to stop playing these games, and I wonder if they'll ever be televised. So I think that's where the anger comes from, because they can't see it, and we're spoiled as sports fans. You get your eyes on any sporting event you watch, or any sporting event that's on a field or on a court. Just not those two.
Well, I was off on Saturday, so here's what I did. I just listened on the radio. I listened to you do the women's game, and then I sat there and listened to Chuck and Coach Z do the men's game, and it was like 4 hours of radio, and it reminded me of when I was a kid, because that's the most of the time that's how I listen to games. And there's an art to doing that, to make you feel like you're there, and all of you guys did a great job on that, and I never felt like I was deprived. I never found myself reaching for the TV remote going, "Gee, I wish I could get this on TV." If you accept it and buy into it, it's not a problem. For one game a year, 30 games on television in basketball, and one game is a disaster. No, I had a good time.
That being said, we got is it Travis Williams going to be the new DC for Arkansas? What are your thoughts on him? Do you remember him at Auburn?
I don't. I got to be honest. I don't.
See, I don't either. But if he's there whenever we play they won a national title when he was there, and they split one. But the thing that I remember about those teams, Mike, is they would hit you. They were fit. Those Auburn teams were physical back then. So I hope he brings some of that physicality here.
Yeah, I just watched the press conference. This was a crazy search. It went on in the media, and then these fans that claim they've got sources, and it was this guy, and then it was that guy, and then there's this poor guy, and I guess he was at Maryland, but Pittman was out there looking at a player, and everybody thought he was looking at a coach, and the guy has to go to his coach and explain, "I haven't talked to Sam Pittman." So all this went on and on and on. But, I think he went after a guy, number one, because of his recruiting ability. He had recruited 3 4-star linebackers in this class. Now, I don't know if Arkansas is going to get one of them, but one of them has decommitted today. So that may be a good sign for Arkansas, because they need something, because they've lost one tight end, and they may lose another one. So, now this tight ends coach, Morgan Turner, he's going to have to hopefully he can bring somebody in that he was recruiting out on the West Coast, maybe, because they need to plug some holes right now, and the fans are panicking over this stuff. So hopefully now that these coaches are on board and out there, and I guess what they're doing is watching these bowl workouts, but they're not participating. Pittman said today, I just want them to evaluate. I want them to look. I want Turner to look at the tight ends. I want Travis Williams to look at the defense and know what we need to get. But they're not going to coach, and then they got to recruit. So at least it's good to know who these people are. That stops a lot of the freaking out on the internet when you don't know who's out there.
Mike, let me play one soundbite from Sam's press conference on Friday, and then I want to react to this because this has a lot to do with, maybe the reason players are going into the transfer portal, not just from Arkansas, of course, but from everywhere else.
I still don't believe in buying players. I believe in somebody who wants to come to the university, and then you talk about, what they might be able to do in their name, image, and likeness program. But, yeah, the way of football going right now is disturbing a little bit.
The word is tampering, and he didn't use the word, but that's what coaches are saying is happening across the college football landscape. Is this an inflection point for Arkansas football, or at least for the program under Sam Pittman? Is this an adapt or die moment for Sam Pittman as a head coach as to what you will accept for your program?
Well, he went on to say, and that was misinterpreted because people listened to that part of it and then didn't listen to the rest of it. He went on to say, hey, we're doing it. Now, he didn't say we're buying players, but he said we're going out and using the portal. Anybody that knows what he did last year in the portal, we're not done this year, so we don't know. But, I mean, he understands the portal, and he's going to use it. But he did go on to say what this does is it hurts high school recruiting. You're going to recruit fewer guys out of high school and go for these instant fixes. And the other part of this tampering thing, this is a violation. And the NCAA is sitting back and doing nothing about it. There's a very basic rule on NIL that says you cannot offer an NIL deal to an athlete until they sign their LOI. So unless you've signed with the school, they're not supposed to expose you to a deal. And everybody knows this is being violated all over the place. And why is it not being investigated? Why are they not doing something about this? Because this is the outright buying of players, and people talk about, well, we're just kind of getting to where the NFL doesn't do this. With NIL, an NFL player may do an endorsement, but he's doing that for a legitimate way of making money to endorse a business. And what's going on with NIL right now is that's being disguised as an endorsement. Actually, it's a way of funneling money to a player to keep him where you are or to steal him from another school.
It's like the old no-show jobs, right?
Exactly. So somebody's got to get some brains and step in and stop this, because you don't want this. Do we really want a sport where whoever cheats the best and is under the table the best is the one that wins? And I know people say it's always been that way. A little bit of that, but not anything like what's going on right now.
They should have capped it at the beginning. You got to make it where a player can't make more than $10,000 a semester or something weird. Because get out of here. As a kid, as a college Division I athlete, you know what you want for it. Not one single thing at any of these campuses. It's crazy.
Absolutely, but you ought to read what some of these fans, our own fans, are putting on the internet. Oh, you don't have a right to cap the salary of a kid, what he's able to make. This is America. Well, these guys are in college. They're getting a college education, most of these guys are never going to the NFL. So you're going to do this for the few that may turn pro, and they're going to make a bunch of money, and the rest of them aren't, which creates a really weird situation. To me, the solution is right in front of their face. Make these students, they work 20 hours a week, NCAA mandated in sports, so they're part-time. Make them part-time university employees.
1099.
Come up with an hourly wage. Maybe they make $30,000 a year on top of their scholarship, and they're already getting about $10,000 a year in spending money. So maybe you got $40,000 in spending money. You got everything else paid for, and you got people still saying you're limiting them. What? Are you kidding me? Who wouldn't want that? But now, because of this thing where everybody thinks, well, I can get $800,000 at this school, that somehow you're limiting somebody. You got a chance to make that big money when you get into the NFL.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.